Welcome to another video from the farm. Today we're planting up potatoes, sorting out our raspberry beds and giving the whole garden a good tidy up after all this storm we've been having. So all the rhubarbs are coming through nicely, got a good amount of them, and we've also got our blueberries in play. Just starting to sprout now. So we should hopefully have a nice bumper crop of blueberries this year. We had quite a few last year, but now they've managed to grow in. We shall see. So the major damage of the storm was one of our strawberry towers. As you can see, wind and rain ripped it wide open here. But we're going to replace these two anyway with better versions that I came up with. And also we have all this damaged fence. As you can see, our windbreak didn't do a very good job. It broke. So we've got all these big 30-litre pots left over from when we had our blueberries last year. So we thought we'd give a go at planting potatoes in them, as we've done it before in smaller pots and it worked okay. So fingers crossed, in a much larger pot we have much larger potatoes. So when I ordered these potatoes off Amazon Prime, Maris Piper starter potatoes, as you can see, they've all got little eyes growing on them already, which is the start of the little root systems. First task then is we need to start filling our big pots with some compost. So we've got a pretty good hookup for the compost. We had this 20-ton load delivered last year, about 10 months ago now. Now when we had it last year, it was still a little bit hot and still a little bit bioactive. So that meant that we couldn't really use most of it. We used a little bit of some. As you can see here, the rabbits are digging all over this stuff. And that's the main thing we had problem with while we were growing last year. The rabbits getting in our grow beds and nibbling all the starts of the plants. Because we've had this sat outside for about a year now, we just need to quickly scrape all the little things that are germinating off the top so we can get through to some nice clean compost. So we're set up in the area where we're going to be putting these potatoes. The first thing we're going to do is put about 4 inches or so of this compost in the bottom. Another half scoop, Stu. There we go. And then we're going to take 5 of these little potatoes, try and stick it eye down if we can. Nice little arrangement there. And then we're going to put another 6 inches on top. There we go. Now we're going to leave the top of this empty, so when the shoots start coming out of here, start taking handfuls more, start almost covering the shoots over to encourage them to grow really long, and then that way we should hopefully get a much thicker spread of potatoes all the way through the pot. So let's finish the rest of these off and get them all planted. So we've got them all in, and the only thing left to do now is give them all a good watering. So we decided to do them in pots like this for ease of management and ease of harvest more than anything, as we can literally just dump these on our sieve tray and be able to get all the potatoes out of them in seconds, rather than having to dig over a whole bed and probably missing some in the process. Adding in some labour into this by the fact that when these start shooting up, we've got to come round with a wheelbarrow full of more compost, and we've got to top them up a little bit. So the whole point of filling these up a little bit as the shoots start coming out is to encourage more root mass to grow, basically, which then in turn should increase the amount of potatoes we get. We'll come back to these in a couple of weeks, I'm sure, in a different video, show you how they're getting on. So we've just got one pot of potatoes left to do. We're missing one pot. We had 10, but we can't find one, so we've got 5 extra. Now we've got the potatoes done, it's time to start re-fencing a little bit around our raspberries so we can get those going as soon as possible. These are our fantastic, already sprouting little raspberries. These are early raspberries, so that's why we want to get them in ahead of schedule now before we rabbit fence the whole area. As you can see, all over the top of this bed that we've just left, there's little holes dug by the rabbits. Now they were the main curse of us last year. They absolutely decimated any of these little knot areas that sprouted on any of these raspberries last year. And pretty much all of our onions and garlics we had in also got eaten by the rabbit. As you can see, some of the ones that got nibbled off and have actually started to re-sprout again this year after we just left these beds, they were already being attacked by the rabbits again. Three tiny little garlic shoots from the remaining clove. What we'll do with this bed is we'll probably just pull all of these little tiny garlic plants out, maybe put them in their own small separate bed, but more than likely we'll throw these in pots too, and then we'll just keep trimming the tops off them and they'll make some nice addition to a cheeky salad. They're already a bit garlicky, they'll be nice. So the plan is put a bit of a rabbit fence around this raspberry patch for now, and we'll plant our raspberries. And then we're going to rake all this area over, just the tops of it, take out all the bumps, put a bit more compost on top, and then we're going to replant lots more garlic in here this year. As all our windbreakers got quite damaged in the storms we've had as well, probably going to end up just replacing all of this and just putting a decent rabbit wire fence all the way around the edge straight away, so this whole area will be rabbit proofed, which will be ideal. And so I'm going to start cutting some of these supports to wrap wire around the outside, and then Stu's going to start taking out the old raspberry canes that are all done for now. So we've got most of the rabbit proof wire in, just got these 2 bays at the front here to do. Go and sniff out a piece of wire to fire that in quickly. Now fingers crossed this rabbit protection should be good enough and they won't try and get underneath too badly if we could walk around, stamp all this in a bit. Otherwise we're going to have to come and throw some logs on top of here to stop them getting underneath. Failing that, we might actually just go and get some tacks and tack it straight to the wood around the edge, which would be the simpler one, but don't have to go and buy the tacks. So the final task then, we've got to plant up all of these little 10 raspberry plants we've got. As I said before, these are early raspberries, so the sooner we get these in the better. Hopefully we get some off them this year. Right, let's crack on. So we're putting all of these around a foot apart because they will spread in each direction and hopefully fill out this entire bed one day. So we've got all 10 of these in. As you can see, I can roughly fit 10 a bay. So I've got another 30 coming, which should fill up this nicely. And then we should have a good amount of raspberries this year, hopefully. Next year we definitely will. So I've gone and put these extra long 5-foot pieces of lath on. So we can use this as a bird cage as well, basically. We'll have this bottom half as normal wire, then we'll just wrap some bird netting over the top. Then that'll stop all the little birds stealing our raspberries as well. So here we go. We've got all the rabbit protection wire around the edge. Stu got the bed weeded out nicely. And we've got our raspberries planted in down the end there. Like I said before, just 30 more to go on here. They should be arriving this week. So we'll wrap this video up here. And we'll get to getting out all these garlic plants in the next one and sorting out these beds. Probably replant some of them in here, some of them much more close together in pots. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please remember to give it a like below. Until next time, bye bye.